Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and I'm calling this family meeting so this way we can talk about my favorite mechanic, style, type, whatever it is, this particular thing that you do within the world of board games. If you can tell by my stack over here and this guy over here and everything, today I would like to talk about deck builders, why I love them so much, go through some of the ones that I have in my collection, and of course the ones that I want and need to add to my library. When I started really getting into the world of board games like 5 or so years ago, I wasn't really sure where it is I landed. There was so many board games out there that had so many different things to it that I wasn't sure about. Worker placement, engine building, and then of course the building selection for the various games. You had deck builders, which is pretty much your most common, but you have other builders too. You had hand builders, dice builders, bag builders. I mean, Wonderland's War is a bag building game. It is fantastic. I love it. And I would love to play Quacka something. You guys remember what I'm talking about down. I'd love to play that one day as well because it's the same thing. You're building a bag to use, throughout the course of the game. And I think what I really like about these building style games is that every time you play, it really is a different experience. And that can be said about any game, really. It doesn't matter what the mechanic is. You're building an engine, you're going to flip out different cards and they're going to go different ways and whatnot. But something about the deck building games where it's like, you can't go into a game with a set strategy in mind. You have to make it up on the fly every single time you play because you don't know what cards you're going to have in order to build up your decks. And there's various degrees of deck building here as well. Like Summer Camp is a pretty good introduction to deck building. The Loop has very light deck building to it. You're only really maybe adding 3 or 4 cards to your deck throughout the course of the game. Unless you're doing solo, then it's going to be more. But then there's other things like the Transformers or almost all Renegade games, where every time you start a new game, your basic starter deck is always the same and you go from there. Clank is that way, the original Clank, Harry Potter. There's so many ways that you can go into it and play, with the different cards that you're given. And it's just cool also to see all the different abilities that you get to use when going in as well. Like, Mage Knight itself has like a crap ton of stuff because of all the magic and everything. But like Harry Potter, just to go back to that one, you have 3 things. You can do damage, you can heal, you can gain coin, whatever it is, in order to buy new cards. That's it. There are so many cards in this game that do so many different things just based off of those 3 resources that it's insane and I love it. All of these have that to it and they keep coming out with new stuff and new ways that surprise me and just completely keep me within the realms of whatever games these are, just to build my deck, make them stronger every game and see what new combos I can discover. So I'm going to talk about a few that I have within my collection that basically are the standouts for me, at least. Ones that I'm always going to find myself going back to and playing all the time. Clank is one of them. I do have the Direwolf app on my phone, so I am able to play this one player. When my wife, next time we play together, I'm going to get her to play this with me because I think she would absolutely love it. And it's just something about Clank, and most deck builders actually, that are very simple to learn. There's only a few different things that you need to know when you go into a game, mostly just symbology and whatnot. And then as you play, you just read the card and that's what it does. And every time you play a new deck builder, or even if you play the same deck builder a few times, you're always going to be seeing new cards, so you're always going to be learning every single time you play anyway. I really am thinking about getting the other expansions because they're really not that much, or I can probably find them on sale. But I also want the newer Clank stuff as well, but that's going to be a little bit later in the video. Next is Harry Potter Battle for Hogwarts, a cooperative deck building game. Why am I talking about this old game? Because this was the very first deck builder I ever had. This is one that got me into the world of deck building. This one showed me exactly what it is that I can expect whenever I play a deck building game. And I love the world of Harry Potter. I think it is absolutely amazing. I am not, super deep into it, but I know enough to be able to enjoy the movies. I've only read a few of the books, and of course playing through this, you're playing through each one of the 7 years, and as you go through it, it gets progressively harder. I do have the other expansions back here. I have not even opened up the potion one yet, and I've only looked at the monster one, so I have a lot to do with this. I love watching the progression of the characters going through this. So every time you go into a new year, you actually see your characters get older and stronger. Fantastic game. Very simple to learn, very simple to read all of the cards. And if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, It's like, why not? Why is this not in your collection if you are a Harry Potter fan? I don't know. But I will always recommend this game to anybody out there who loves the IP or just wants a simple deck building game that is both engaging and easy to learn and fun to do, because every new year gives you a new something to add to all of to you building up your decks and like the main deck and things along that ways. And I'm just going to drop some images down here because I really only have the box for one of them. And that would be the deck building games presented by Renegade, specifically Power Rangers, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. What I love most about each one of these 3 deck builders is that they are all unique. Each one of them has different mechanics to it, to the point where, yes, you can't cross between them. You can't use your Power Rangers one into your Transformers one or your Transformers one into your G.I. Joe one. There's actually a separate G.I. Joe expansion with Transformers in it, using all like the rules and everything for the G.I. Joe deck builder. You can't use that for Transformers and vice versa. They're supporting these so much. There are so many different things that you can do with each one of the games, and I just love going back to them so much. I've played the Transformer one over and over again because the solo mode is awesome. I played the G.I. Joe one a few times as well with my friend because he has them. He actually just let me borrow all the G.I. Joe stuff that he has, which is up until, it's June 2023, whatever the expansions are to that point. I have to go through them myself. And I love it. That game is so good. And I can't wait for this one to have it solo. So with G.I. Joe, you're on missions. Every time you play the game, regardless if you're playing it 1 or 4 or however many players, you're going through a campaign mode of various missions, which is awesome. And as you build your deck through that, the new deck that you make carries over from mission to mission to mission. And what's awesome about this game also is that if you fail a mission, you don't lose the game. You just continue on to the next mission. For Transformers, you have the Matrix, which is like a board in your game that you make with your cards. Normally, whenever you have like a market or whatever, you have a line of cards that you see them all, and you can pick and choose from there. With the Matrix, you actually have to move from card to card in order to flip them over, in order to see what's under them. I have a full how to play and everything on this game on this channel, which is absolutely amazing, and you can expect a lot of playthroughs of this coming in the future, because they just announced today, June 9th, that I'm recording this, and this is going to be out, I don't even know when, but the Combiners additional expansion for the game. And I'm so excited for that because Devastator is awesome, and I want all of these Combiners. I want them all to my game. And I don't even know what you're going to be. I don't even know what the solo mode for the Power Ranger deck builder game is going to be. I don't have any of that. My friend has all of the Power Ranger stuff. Depending on what this solo is, I may end up getting them all because I love Power Rangers. A lot of you guys are here because of Heroes of the Grid, which I'm going to talk about that in a completely different video. That has nothing to do with this. But I would love to see what the solo is for that in order to just kind of possibly start collecting them again and seeing how it is and how it is different from the other 3. But that's just kind of what I have within my collection. I know there's a few more floating around here, but that's the ones I wanted to talk about. As far as my wants go, these are games that I would really like to add to my collection one day. It's like no rush or anything along that ways, but they are on my wants list. I do want them, and if I happen to find them at a decent price, I'm going to get them. Otherwise, I'll get them when I get them. First one would be the Resident Evil deck builder. And I've talked about this, I think, on my very first family meeting when I talked about Grail games, and this being one of them. Huge Resident Evil fan, huge deck building fan, so why wouldn't I love this game? So the thing with the Grail games, and a lot of people say, is it's a game that you can't find, that is very hard to find. Can I order the Resident Evil deck building game off of Amazon right here, right now, today? Absolutely. So it really doesn't fall into that like category for the Grail game. Do I want to pay $300-400 for it? Absolutely not. Not even close. So I'm just waiting it out right now, seeing if I can find it somewhere, if it magically pops up for a cheaper price or a normal price or goes down in price or whatever along that ways. It's not something I'm actively searching for, but would be something that I would love to have and check out because, heck, it's Resident Evil. It's a deck builder. Like I said, I love those two things, and to have that together would be awesome to play. These next 3 wants on my list are really games that people just kind of suggest all the time when they talk about the quintessential deck building games that you should have in your collection if you're a deck building fan. And that is Aeon's End, Ascension, and Dominion. Like, I've kind of done some research on all these. I really want Aeon's End. I think that's really cool. I don't know much about Ascension and Dominion yet, but if you ask most people out there and you ask them, like, what are your favorite deck building games? one of these three is going to be mentioned, and it's going to be mentioned, you know, at least, you know, maybe in combination with the other, maybe they'll mention all three, something along that ways. But you're going to hear these games at some point when talking to people, and you're going to hear them come up over and over and over again. These are wants. These are ones that I'd like to add to my collection at one point. Even with Aeon's End, what is it? Astronauts, that just, the base game, I think, came out, and the expansion was on Kickstarter not too long ago. I hear that's similar to Aeon's End, and it looked really cool. I liked just Astronauts, the one I only know off the top of my head because of everything recently. I like that ability where you're putting stuff in your discard pile and then you just flip the discard pile over. You're not actually shuffling it. So that's really cool that you have to think about how you order your cards when you use them, because that's how they're coming up again. I thought that was really cool. I want to do a little bit more research on them, see which ones I would really maybe resonate more with as opposed to like some of the other ones that are going to be on my needs list, and just see what happens. And again, just like with the Resident Evil 1, if I find a great deal for it, I'll probably pick it up. Otherwise I get them when I get them, and I'll let you guys all know that once I do. And these last three that I want to talk about are deck building games that, man, do I need in my collection, that I've been looking at recently, that I see the way that they're being played, and I'm watching other people play them. I'm like, I need this game. I need this game because it is awesome, because it's right up my alley with my interests and whatnot, and they have to enter into my library sooner than later. And I'm going to start with Legendary Encounter, an alien deck building game. I know Legendary Encounter is like an older series. I don't really know how long it's been around, but it's been around for a few years. And this game in itself has been around for quite a while, and I can find it anywhere. It's not like hard to get and whatnot, but it's just, I don't know. I just haven't gotten it yet because there's so many other things coming out, so many other things I want to pay attention to and whatnot. But just watching people play it, I've gone back, I've watched older plays on YouTube and everything like that, and just seeing the interactions between the characters and the aliens, and then playing through all of the different movies of sorts. I just love it so much. So anything alien related, kind of like with the Resident Evil and a few other things, I just want to have all the games and whatnot in association to that franchise, because I love it. I think it's an amazing franchise. I love following it. I love following the lore. I love following the characters. And I think it would just be a lot of fun to play a game that's a deck builder using all of it. Next is Clank Catacombs. It's the better version of Clank right now, because whenever you play the original Clank, you have your map out and everything. And after you play it every so often, you kind of know the map. You know where it goes, you know where it leads, you know the best routes or whatever. Clank Catacombs changes every time, because as you explore the dungeon that you're in, you're flipping down tiles in order to create a new map. Otherwise that, maybe a few more mechanics here and there with ghosts and rescuing prisoners and everything. But the game is still Clank, and I think that's what's amazing. It's such a different aspect for the game. It's a brand new way to play. It's a brand new way to experience the world of Clank while still playing Clank, and that is amazing. I want to get that and all other things Clank added to my collection at some point, because every single thing, the expansions for the original, Catacombs, Legacy, Acquisition Incorporated, all of that stuff tells a great story within the world of Clank as well, and it just makes you want to dive into that dungeon again and again and again, fighting the dragon, fighting all the monsters, getting the loot, getting the treasure, and coming out victorious. So much fun every time I play. And the last one that I absolutely need to add to my collection is Dune Imperium, along with its expansions, because I hear those are fantastic. I am not a Dune fan. I don't know much about Dune at all. I've never seen any of the movies. I know a little bit about the history, you know, what makes the Dune world what it is and everything through tabletop RPGs that I've listened to and whatnot. I played this game at a game night at my local game store and fell in love with it. You don't need to know a single thing about the Dune world to know that Dune Imperium is amazing. And like Clank, it has a solo mode variant to it that you use the Direwolf app in order to be able to access. So yes, because I can play Dune Imperium by myself and solo, and everybody I talk to who's had this game says the solo is absolutely amazing, I really, really want it just to add more to it. I remember the deck building aspect of it not really being huge either. Like, it's not focused around deck building. You do it pretty much just at the end of your turn to make obviously you make your deck better, but you're also focusing on other things. There's a worker placement thing to it. There's a battle aspect to it. There's some luck aspect depending on what cards you draw from certain decks and everything. So this one is more than just deck building, but that's okay. It can be more than that, because there's so much to the Dune world. There's so much mystery and intrigue and just really cool things that you see throughout it that, again, if you don't know any of the characters or don't know any of the factions or anything like that, that's fine. You can just go through it and learn it as you go along if you want to or whatnot. But this is a game that I really want to add. I want to play more, not only for myself, but for you guys as well. And then, of course, get the expansions because I hear those make the experience even better. And I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments below. Speaking of which, why don't we go ahead and move this family meeting over to you guys. Let me know, what are some of your favorite deck building games? I probably mentioned them while I went through this video, but if not, let me know down in the comments below which ones you enjoy to play, which ones you think have really great solo modes, which ones you think have better cooperative modes, if there's competitive ones or whatever out there. Any type of deck building game that you can think of that you would like to let me know about, like the community know about, and really show your love for, let us know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear everything that's in your collection, and hopefully one day it may make it to mine. Guys, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you again for joining me in this family meeting. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Home Gamer Dad so you don't miss any future family meetings, subject matters, and everything that I'm going to come up with and talk about in the future. And of course, any other fun videos I happen to put out, whether it be playthroughs, walkthroughs, sessions, or just some random things that I happen to pull out of nowhere. Otherwise, I say, meeting adjourned. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together, building our decks however way we want to. I know there's people that like doing it one way as opposed to another. I like just showing whatever happens to pop up in front of me and going from there, because it's that feeling of having a new strategy and a new path every time you play that's so exciting and so amazing, and that I want to be able to show you guys more of. So until then, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.